Hello everyone, it's me again. And I just want to talk. I just want to vent because it's been a long time since I've made a video. So recently I've been playing Death Stranding 1 and I've completed Death Stranding 1 in preparations for Death Stranding 2. And yes, as I've said, I've completed Death Stranding 1 and beat the story, but that does not mean I have completely beat it because I am a trophy hunter.
This shit is so... Get ass, bitch! I died. Oh my gosh. Come on. God damn it! Pick the shit up and fucking go!
Well, it's not necessarily just... Oh my... with a pull-up. Oh, wow. Never mind.
I am the type of person that loves to get platinums for PlayStation particularly, and that means I'm someone who tends to enjoy the video game as I'm playing through it and I complete the story, but then end up hating it once I get to the end because I have to do things like perform 50 barrel rolls, hand someone a package 600 times.
Pizza time.
He said it. He said it.
Get out!
Do 360 donuts in a bicycle. All to get a bronze trophy.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! Why are you with me?
And whilst completing Death Stranding's platinum, the reason this video is being made is because as I was playing Death Stranding, the game in itself is a long game if you know anything about Death Stranding. It's about 70 hours long just to beat the story alone, right? And I beat it, had a good time with it, and then I proceeded to go do the platinum because I tend to platinum Sony exclusives for the most part, and games just I enjoy. Well, you see, that's not even true because I find myself sometimes even platinuming games I find mid, but just found the platinum doable enough. But anyways, I go ahead and try to attempt the Death Stranding platinum, and I can say I have finally completed the Death Stranding platinum. You want to know what my hour count finally finished at? About 120 hours. What is it? The hours just to complete the platinum went about 50 plus hours in addition to the 70-hour campaign. See, being a platinum hunter and trophy hunter is not for the faint of heart. That's for certain.
The story of my life is not for the faint of heart. If somebody said it was a happy little tale, if somebody told you I was just your average ordinary guy, not a care in the world, somebody lied.
You can see all the countless YouTube channels that are pretty much based on just completing platinums and completing trophies on PlayStation for the most part. You know, there's a culture around it, why we get trophies, why we get platinums, and I've always found fascinating because I've been one of them. And I know it's more of a niche audience, probably making this video a little bit more niche, but for all the trophy hunters out there, I make this video for you. Because why the hell do we do it? I've always wondered why we enjoy hunting for trophies in video games and achieving platinums, and I went a little bit further and did some research on it just to see kind of the mental reasonings and beliefs and the psychological reasons for as why we enjoy getting trophies, platinums, and whatnot. Online research kind of just shows more generic answers and, you know, human validation and approval and senses of accomplishment, these things that are obviously just kind of more of the generic reasonings, and it can always be that generic, it's always not that deep. I would like to hear some of your guys' stories and your guys' opinions as to why you collect trophies and why you guys hunt them, because I don't know, I feel I have different reasonings to do it. Sometimes, a lot of the times it's to kind of 100% a game, or the times it's sometimes to almost show my appreciation for the game of how much I liked it and honoring it by getting the platinum. I feel like my reasonings are kind of different as to what the majority of people's reasonings are, but I also think it can vary all across the board, so I would love to know some of your guys' reasonings for why you hunt platinums. I kind of make this video, this one's not more of a structured one, it's more of just a little bit of a freestyle, as I said in those videos that I'll just kind of vent out. And whilst I was completing Death Stranding's platinum, it just made me think, why am I doing this? Why am I doing these trivial things that are completely useless? For when I was already satisfied with just beating the base game of Death Stranding. And I enjoyed it enough to go get the platinum, because don't get me wrong, if I absolutely despise the game, I'm not going to get the platinum. If I just know it's not worth my time, I won't do it. But I even find myself sometimes platinuming insanely mid games or boring games, just because, like I said, I find the platinum doable or achievable. It's kind of a bizarre thing, right? And this video in itself is kind of hilarious because it's basically me complaining about a thing that is completely optional, but you see, that's why I am a psychopath.
What's wrong with you?
And that's why I think we that achieve trophies are psychopaths. Don't get me wrong, there is a sort of enjoyment in that I'm doing it, but it's like one of those enjoyments that is also bad for you. The only reason I say bad for you is because it ends up turning games that are not grindy into very grinding games. And I'm someone who has completely tried to drop any type of grinding in video games because I don't like my video games feeling like a job. And going for trophies and platinums sometimes do that. Now, I guess I make this video to say when I'm looking at trophies and platinums, I actually do enjoy attaining them for the fact that it feels like I 100% completed everything in the game. It's a completionist run, and I do enjoy completionist runs because I feel like I got every dollar squeezed out of that game. Every ounce of value is now squeezed because I've done everything you've had to do in the games. So see, those are the platinums I enjoy. The ones that tell you need to do everything in the video game to get the platinum. With that being said, I hate when they add these things that I feel that were just added because they are common gaming trends and they tend to always relate to platinums. For example, collectibles and finding, audio logs, data logs, like those sort of things in video games is the most brutal and for me frustrating and boring type of platinums and trophy hunts is the ones where I have to go and attain and collect these 100 items. For example, the Riddler trophies in Batman, everybody says they're their least favorite part of the game. But you know what I hate even more when you're going for those collectible trophies? Is when they are not even fucking available unless you go on a YouTube Power Picks video. See, that's the most frustrating thing. Why did you create this system that we're just gonna have a dual second screen watching while we're trying to collect the trophies you've given us to, whether it be attain the trophy or even if you're not going for a trophy and you just want to get all the collectibles because maybe it unlocks a certain type of suit or skin for the game, I don't know. You see, the best trophies and the best platinum hunts of all times, like I said, are just the ones where you just gotta play the game. And I'm not talking about taking candy from a baby like beating a Telltale game and getting a platinum.
Problem? No!
I'm talking about more so just beating a fairly difficult or fairly well rewarded game. One I recently platinum was Bloodborne. I was actually very satisfied with the game because Bloodborne's platinum is basically just play Bloodborne. But let me give you another perfect example of one I absolutely despised and hated with every ounce of my being. That was the Demon Souls remake platinum. Oh my god, this will by far be one of the worst platinums I've ever had to attain because I had to play the game a total count of 6 times. And if you know anything about Demon Souls, it's already of course a difficult game. Now add on top of the fact I had to do the new game pluses to unlock all the rings to change the world tendency because it was all required for these stupid trophies was absolutely agonizing. It's just ridiculous. So I say that to say that to kind of bring to light in this video that I want to talk about also some of the worst platinums that you could attempt to achieve. Some that kind of signify all the things I'm saying of what make a platinum so useless. It sometimes just feels like, some person working on the game and they're kind of just like clicking, coding maybe the assets for what was going to give you the trophy, and like, hey, I'm going to make it be beat the game on harsh difficulty, never die all in one sitting while it's getting all collectibles. It's like the person who's setting the parameters for the trophies, I've always wondered what their thought process behind it kind of is, because sometimes it feels like they lean from extremely easy to extremely hard, and it never is cohesive, of course, because anybody can kind of set what they want a trophy to be. So here are some of the examples of some of the hardest trophies to attain, just to show you what it's like to be a trophy hunter. And who knows, maybe I'll attempt these one day because I do like the suffering of trophies because I'm a weirdo. Let me see here. And we're going to run across what are the hardest trophies as opposed to platinums, because of course if the trophy is significantly hard, then that would hinder you getting the platinum because you need all the trophies in order to get the platinum. And in this video too, I'm going to talk about some of the platinums that were the most difficult for myself as well whilst running through these varying trophies. So one of them was right here. I've seen this one so many times. Okay, here's one that's not as much of a difficult one as it is just grindy, and those are sometimes even the worst platinums because they're just so tedious with time. This is one I never attempted, and it is my favorite game of all time. You'll hear me mention it in videos multiple times. It signifies everything I say I hate about trophy hunting and platinums, is that it's such tedious grinding of collection and observation of the world to strive towards the platinum, if that makes sense, to a ridiculous degree. Red Dead Redemption 2. Reading the article here, it says it's a 100% completion run that you got to do in the game. You got to go through the 70 story missions and attain a gold medal, which means you have to do these varying kind of objectives within the story to get the gold medal, like 80% accuracy, beat a certain section within a certain amount of time, things that if you mess up, you got to redo the mission again and again, which can be insanely frustrating. And don't take 100% completion lightly for a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a game that is already insanely long, just like Death Stranding. And on top of that, has so many collectibles like observing all the animals, skinning all the animals, getting all the camp stuff, crafting a plethora of items, catching all the fish, studying every animal. Gotta be careful to not miss any trophies. That is not for the faint of heart. Red Dead Redemption 2, no pun intended, is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse when it comes to essentially grindy platinums in video games. I want to get into some of the more difficult ones that are just kind of stupid. One of the ones I teased on here that was an insanely difficult one is the Mein Leben trophy in Wolfenstein 2, which in the game itself is not a difficult game, so you would think it would be one of the easier ones, to be honest. It's a relatively shorter game in comparison to the other games we've mentioned, but for the Mein Leben trophy, it requires you to beat the game in one sitting for whatever reason. You cannot die once, and you're playing it on the hardest difficulty, meaning you're basically at a 1-shot to 2-shot level cap. It is so ridiculously stupid. I don't understand that trophy. That's just another one, like I kind of teased earlier in the video, of like mentioning someone just typing, setting up the trophy parameters and be like, okay, I'm at this, and then you can't die, and then one in sitting, and then the hardest difficulty. It's like, come on, dude. Speaking of 1-shot modes, to kind of flex my resume, I guess,
Brother, this guy stinks!
I have done some 1-shot modes before for trophies and for platinum. Specifically, I did the crushing difficulties for Uncharted, and then furthermore, I did the brutal difficulties for them. Those were just extended extra trophies. I ended up doing those, and oh my gosh, I wanted each game 1, 2, and 3 to have the 100% marker on it. I've yet to do Uncharted 4. I will do that one of these days, including the brutal difficulty, and oh my gosh, let me tell you, one of the worst 1-shot modes, 2-shot modes in a video game ever, just because of the fact that Uncharted is not designed to be a survival fucking horror game. You know what I'm saying? It's not a game. It's Uncharted. You're supposed to be running gun. It's supposed to be played on normal hard at most, but when you turn the game into this brutal cover-based tactical shooter, oh my gosh, it just changes the game entirely. And those sometimes are the worst trophies, where you have to play the hardest difficulty mode, which basically changes the entire flow of the game and makes you play in a way it was never meant to be played. And that's something I've always despised in general, when video game trophies require you to play the game in a way it either wasn't meant to be played, or in a completely different way that forces you to play in that specific game style. And again, I know trophies are optional, so you technically don't have to, but you get what I'm saying. For example, games that have trophies that say you have to go the entire game without killing, or the other ones that say you have to go through the entire game killing everyone. It's these things that end up changing the gameplay style from what you wanted to originally play, or maybe how the game was originally meant to be played. As for a 1-shot mode I've done that I felt was difficult but fitting for the game was the Evil Within Akuma difficulty. That's one of my most proud platinums as well, and that one requires you to play a legitimately 1-shot mode. And I just want to emphasize how brutal that mode was. I mean, the enemies literally just had to tickle you, touch you, tap you to make you die in that mode. It was absolutely insanely difficult and agonizing. You see, it is brutal as hell regardless, but the game, at least you know, is a survival horror game, so it is kind of designed in a way that you are supposed to avoid getting hit as much as possible anyways. God, it was one of the most brutal trophies I had to get for the platinum in Evil Within. Yeah, it would have been nice if it was at least a 2-shot mode, you know? The other kind of awful trophies I would like to mention are online trophies. If you know anything about trophy hunting, when you look at the trophy list, the thing you will always be praying if the game has a multiplayer mode is that its multiplayer trophies are in a separate section, or just that multiplayer trophies don't exist would be even better. I remember I had to, for the Last of Us PS4 game, the remaster, I had to go and play the factions mode, which I found really fun, but it ended up being grindy for the platinum because you have to max out the fireflies and then max out the hunters. And if you know anything about that, it's very difficult because you have to be on a consistent winning streak. And especially when you're dealing back then that I was playing the PS4 remastered when the game had already been out on the PS4 for like 5 years, which means it was filled with nothing but sweats. And that's why multiplayer trophies are so awful in video games, because by the time maybe you attempt to do them, the player base has died and it's only left to the sweats and pros, or maybe the servers will shut down one day, so it's completely non-attainable anymore. Then you have platinums like the Let's Fight Someone Strong platinum and Street Fighter 5, which emphasize everything that was wrong with online trophies. This trophy requires you to be in the top levels of Street Fighter 5 online mode, which is basically at this point just the top percentile of players. Obviously that's just leaving it to pros now, people that play it on a daily basis. It's almost inachievable if you were to attempt it to this day and you're not a fighting game pro. Platinums like that just are the worst because it's emphasizing everything that's wrong with online trophies, which is that you're fighting against a group of people that it's their niche, it's their type of video game, it's their type of online game that they're consistently playing. So now it alienates people like you who are just trying to achieve a simple trophy to get the platinum. It's ridiculous. Thankfully I would never be achieving this one because I play Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter, not the Star Wars. That's just what I usually lean towards. And as we're speaking about bad platinums, I would be remiss without mentioning one of the worst platinums to attain. Another one that's the embodiment of platinums you hate to grind. That is Elder Scrolls Online Platinum. It is notoriously bad just for the grind. You're expected to reach anywhere around 600 to 900 hours just to attain the platinum. I know the margins on that are kind of big, so you can't really decipher where you would end up, but regardless, if you're hearing 600 hours minimum to attain the platinum, I think most people are just going to drop it off. The reason the platinum's so rare is just because it requires, like I said, so much grinding, so many hours, a lot of RNG elements. This is one of those platinums that at that point it would have to be your kind of mainstay platinum. So what I'm trying to say is you would have to be playing it through the years, you know, or through the year, just trying to chip away at the trophies in order to attain the platinum. It's not a game that you could just focus on the whole time and hone in and be like, okay, I'm going to get this platinum within this month or these 2 months. No, you would have to split that into a grand experience. And I know a lot of people do that, and I'm one that did that as well. I do those ones, especially with online trophies, like I said, with Marvel Rivals, where I was playing out on the side, chipping away at the trophies. That way I just didn't feel like I had to grind Marvel Rivals the entire time to just attain the platinum in a couple of months. Elder Scrolls Online, you would need to spread that out through a year or multiple years just to attain that platinum. Running through just a little bit of those trophies brings me back to the traumas of hunting some of my most devious platinums that PlayStation has brought to me. And I really just made this video because I just want to talk about trophy huntings and to let you all know about some of my passions and that I truly do enjoy trophy hunting, and sometimes I actually despise trophy hunting. I suppose the final question I would propose at the end of the video is, what are some of your guys' hardest trophies, hardest platinums you guys have attempted to achieve and you guys have completed? I would love to know, so let me know down below, and I'll be sure to respond to your guys' devious platinums that you have completed. This one's for the trophy hunters. This is for the ones that have attempted those difficult platinums that you had to admit to yourself, yeah, we're not going to get this one done. This is to those that truly conquered the platinums that they didn't think they could achieve but ended up doing it. This one's for y'all. Anyways, guys, that's the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, comment. I'm a new, fresh channel trying to grow. If you want to join me for this journey, it would mean the world to me. Y'all are amazing. Y'all have been supporting the channel greatly. I don't want to hop on too many hiatuses, so I was happy I was able to make this video and get it done. I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it, and yeah, hopefully I'll see y'all next time. Bye.